Step 2. Generating and submitting invoices using Daycare Session Actuals. Click on the Invoices Credit Notes tab at the top of the screen. You can also access the Invoice Credit Notes screen by clicking on the icon from the home page. To create a new invoice, click New Invoice. The payment period will default to the current period. Select the relevant level for the invoice, either client or service, if you're invoicing for more than one client at the service. Click Continue. This will generate a screen with the invoice value based on the actuals recorded for every client CPLI listed for period. When you choose service, a list of all the payment items available to invoice for will be shown in a list on the screen. Every item will be pre-selected by default, so you will need to manually select any items you do not wish to be included by unticking the box next to the line item. You will need to make sure that you deselect any items for clients whose actual attendance you have been recording, but whose purchase order is incorrect. These items should only be invoiced when the CPLI is showing correctly in the portal. This means they may be billed as part of an invoice for a later billing period, which includes all backdated payments owed. You won't be able to create an invoice for any clients who have no active CPLI because there is no means to add the actuals and include them on an invoice. Please refer to the Provider Portal Handbook for instructions on how to query a missing CPLI by raising an action through the portal. Once a CPLI has been input, you'll be able to submit actuals back to the CPLI start date and include when you next submit an invoice. There will be a separate line item listed for every period in which there were actuals recorded for the client. The total payable amount will be displayed in the top right corner of the invoice screen. If you are a provider who is registered to charge VAT, the portal will automatically calculate and include it on the invoice. However, you must also attach a VAT invoice so that the council can meet requirements when claiming back VAT. To attach an invoice, click on Choose File button as illustrated on screen and upload a VAT invoice that reflects the client and VAT value on the invoice you are preparing. If the total payable is incorrect, you can navigate back to check and make adjustments to the actuals by clicking on Actuals Visits tab at the top of the screen. To generate the invoice, the fields you need to complete on the invoice screen are Reference. You'll need to choose a unique invoice reference. This should adequately reflect the client, the billing period, and the financial year as shown on screen. Date on invoice. Enter the date you are raising the invoice. To double check this is correct, the date on the invoice should match the created date showing underneath the field. Choose file. No attachments are required. If your own organizational systems generate an invoice, you can choose to attach it here for your own reference. You can only attach one file, and the total should match what is on the portal invoice. However, regardless of any files attached, the council will only be able to process payment for invoices generated through the portal from the actuals submitted. Create. Once you are satisfied with the information you have entered, click Create. This will generate the first draft of your invoice. At this stage, you are still able to make alterations or delete an invoice, as this has not yet been sent to the council. You can check this by looking at the status. If the status is unsubmitted, it is not yet with GCC. Once satisfied, click Submit Invoice to send the invoice to the council. The status will change to pending. Do not alter the actuals after submitting the invoice, as this will cause discrepancies in the values that show the council when the invoice is viewed in Controc. So the invoice would be rejected. And this concludes the video on how to generate and submit invoices through Actuals Visits icon and Invoices Credit Notes icon. The information on the portal invoice authorization process, please refer to the portal Invoices authorization and payment video.